favorable for Mr. Thomas and myself, were you?
Yeah,
Those
so here we
cones
go.
aren't drawn or defined by me. That's the way it comes out. So
Bye,
the way
Andrina.
it
Have a great
works
day.
is you look at the raw data. The raw data gives you what's called an azimuth and a
So
beam
yeah,
width.
here we go.
That
More cell
information
phone
is
nonsense.
a hard number. It's not something that I come up with. And so it then tells you, okay, it's a
I have the feeling
245.
this is getting
that's
to
the
be a hard
direction.
one for the
A
defense
360
to
circle.
explain
You go
away because the
around
data doesn't
180 at
lie.
the bottom. You
And
get
that's
to
the truth
245.
sometimes.
That's the direction it goes in.
That's
I don't indicate and have any preference for you or for the prosecution or for a juror. I'm just reading what's provided to me by a cell phone carrier.
Do you put the data into the software?
The raw data from the carrier is entered into the software. Yes.
By whom?
But yes, sir. It's a Excel document that's loaded into a program.
Who loads it?
I load it in.
All right, you load it in,
Yes, sir.
right? And so those cones that we saw, they were loaded by you, right? And in loading those cones that were loaded by you, there's never a time that you see a sector that Billy Turner is in at the same time as the dot that Lorenzen Wright is in.
Again, I can't answer that because
I know.
we've been down the road, but all I can tell you is that it's the sector that tower, the sector face. We don't know the distance of it. It's in the general geographical area, and it goes out, and that's how where the device is connected.
When you put the raw data into that machine or into the software, it didn't place a dot belonging to Billy Turner at the same sector that the dot belonging to Lorenzen Wright. It didn't do that.
It doesn't put in dots.
It didn't put phone usage on that same area where we're talking about, Callis Creek. You put the information into a machine, but you couldn't draw the sector wider. You couldn't draw a cone wider. You simply had to take the information that you got from C-Spire,
Yes, sir.
place it into a data format, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you couldn't change that,
I
right?
don't think we don't alter that data.
Right. You can't alter it. You can't favor it. You can't answer the question one way for one person and one way for the other. You can't do that, right?
No, sir.
All right. So what we're looking at, when you're looking at this, what you drew or what you provided, that's something that you can't alter,
No,
right?
sir, I don't alter that. No, sir.
Right. You can interpret it and you can talk to them about it and talk to us about it, but you can't change it.
No, sir.
I don't even know the question.
Any additional questions?
So obligated to ask one. I mean, I think we've asked this 5 different times.
Yes,
but
sir.
We can go back to these cones that everybody's talking about. You just take this one. It doesn't matter what slide. It doesn't matter what slide. We can just whichever one. This cone is for illustration purposes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It is. It's only illustrating that that's the sector in the direction that the antennas and the radio waves are pointing at.
I don't know if I need to do it with the stick or my hand, but the end of this is not really an end.
No, sir, it's not. It's just an indication that that's the direction it's going in.
The purple actually extends.
Yes, sir, it extends.
And these straight lines aren't actually straight lines.
No, sir, they're going to be almost wiggly. If we go back to the technology, you can see how it all goes around in a circle, like a blob. That's what it looks like. It's not a straight line at all. There's no way to make a radio wave be a straight line.
And this diagram shows Lorenzen Wright's cell phone at the time of the murder. We can call it geographical area. We can call it whatever we want. But represented, again, not the end of the cone. It actually keeps on going.
Yes, sir.
In this aquamarine area, these 2 towers.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Billy Turner's cell phone, again, not the end of the purple, no such thing as straight lines, in the same area as Lorenzen's.
That's correct. It's in the same area. Yes, sir.
Now, like Mr. Perry said, understand, you can't say that Billy Turner's cell phone is on the road, Callis cut off.
No, sir, I can't.
You can't say that it's on the other side of the barbed wire fence in the field where Callis cut off.
No, sir, I cannot.
But you can say that it's in the same area.
Correct.
Perry, any additional questions on cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
Two more jury questions for you.
Yes, sir.
And again, if you can answer these, you may answer them. If you cannot, just let the jury know if you cannot answer. And I'm quoting directly, so there won't be any misinterpretation of anything I might.
I think we're
say.
doing
Not
jury
say.
questions
This is
instead.
Quote, what is the last call Sherra made on her phone on July 18th p.m. and at what time was it made? ? And to whom ? Close quotes. If you can answer that.
I don't have those records in front of me, so I honestly can't answer that.
I'll show these. I actually have the digital records. They were all entered previously on that exhibit.
What exhibit?
This exhibit
45.
45, Your Honor. I
Yes, sir.
have them pulled up. I can pass them. I can pass my laptop forward if Mr. Perry and Mr. Thomas want to take a look at it before I pass it up.
Yeah, I think this jury is buying what the prosecution's selling based on the questions they've been asking so far, and these questions seem to solidify that. I don't think there's much confusion about where things were, who did what. I think they just want to hear for sure. I think the defense was trying to say, well, you can't say for sure exactly the spot. And the prosecution was trying to explain, well, yeah, they're clearly not going to know to the foot where things were if it was on one side of the fence or another, but they have the rough idea where things were. So
I think they verified that these are the correct records that are on the desk. Excuse me,
Yes, sir.
I'll pull those up for Sergeant.
The evidence, Deputy Smith has given you what has been admitted for evidence is exhibit 45. Admitted through Jay Browning. Phone records of Sherra Wright, Billy Turner, and Mr. Martin. And if there's anything. in
No
exhibit
relation to
45
me,
you
by the way.
have parts of it, I don't need to see it.
Okay.
That can answer that question for the jury, and since it is an evidence, you may publish that for the jury.
he's like such a big guy with a
So,
little computer.
What we see here
So cute.
is the very last communication. Now, these are AT&T records, so this is not Billy Turner's records. These are Sherra Wright's records. So of course, again, your target number is going to be different. Then you have the incoming short message service or SMS on 7/18/2010 at 23:48 hours. And that incoming message is from Billy Turner in his cell phone of the 901-239-3322. That's the last communication on her phone on the 18th. That would have been reference to the text messages that we saw where she asked him a question, he responds with okay. We didn't see that on his record because we only got voice, so we didn't get the text message.
And I apologize, I was writing something else, July 18, 2010, at what time, sir?
23:48 hours.
11:48 at night.
Yes, sir.
When you get through that, maybe ask questions regarding that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I'll always ask lawyers whether or not they have any
Yes.
additional questions.
They're always
Yes, sir.
allowed.
That's
You
the
always got to let
last
them ask
record that
questions
shows
about
for the
that.
18th.
You can get that back to Deputy Smith, please, sir.
He's gonna
Hang
have
on
to-
to it. Put it down
Yeah,
front.
it makes sense for him to hold on to it. He's gonna have to answer questions.
Second question, quoting directly again, how can there be two calls less than a minute apart but have 3 minutes duration? ? C, page 1, and again, this is exhibit 71. And the juror says, see page 1, July 5, 2010.
But see, this is a good question. The jury needs to know how to interpret the data.
14:48. Call that I believe is Murwill, Murwill Hampton. And a call underneath that, July 5, 2010, 12:15:24. And I believe what the jury is saying is that one call, the first call indicated to be 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And the second call indicated to be 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And having been received or placed, I believe those were incoming calls, within less than a minute of each other.
So to answer that question the best way, more than likely what this is going to be is, make sure I got my times right. It's 12:14. But those calls
Yeah,
being,
I want to object to speculation. If he's saying more than likely,
Yes, sir.
he didn't speculate to any of my answers.
Ooh,
no,
that's a
sir, I
good.
can't answer. Let's go with that.
He cannot answer that question.
Hmm.
Any additional
Good
questions?
catch. Good catch,
We,
counsel.
asked about, or the jury asked about the last call Sherra made, and that's what you just testified to, that 11:48 communication.
Yes, sir.
After that, what is the next call? When's the next time the phone is utilized?
As far as, there are multiple, and here it refers to unknowns, but as far as what we would call as an outgoing call would have been at 5:42 in the morning on the 19th. That would be your next, there's no cell tower information, there's a bunch of unknowns. Doesn't have any call information as far as who called, direction, none of that, it's also unknown. So your next outgoing, or your next communication would have been, like I said, 5:42 in the morning. And that was an outgoing phone call.
11:48, then 5:42.
Yes, sir. So there's nothing in the middle of the night.
That's it.
Mr. Perry, additional questions?
I don't have that in front of me. I can look at it, but before I look at it,
Yes, sir.
I thought Teresa Walker was the last phone call that Sherra made.
They asked about the last communication, I think, on the device or a call.
Hmm. Parallax,
You
I'll
are
get
correct
to
on
you.
the phone
I'll get
call.
to you when they ask, because I've had
Last
trials
communication was that I was going.
where they ask questions that we can't talk about.
Reading again directly, quote, what is the last call Sherra made on her phone on July 18th p.m. and at what time was it made? Question mark. And to whom? Question
I'll
mark.
get to this.
Close quote. End of question.
There is an outgoing call at the exact same time that she's giving the message. It's in 23-48 hours. That is to Teresa Walker. We're referring to voice calls. Yes, sir.
You have a number for Teresa Walker?
901-644-0052 was listed on here.
Okay, that's it.
And additional question, Mr. Agnew. Jeff Smith. And that computer vacuum, Schofield, please, sir. Sergeant Evans. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, sir.
I know it's been a very long 2 days. You cannot discuss.
That's a
your testimony
long
with anyone
ass time to
without
do
anyone
testimony.
talking to you about their testimony. Thank you for being here in court for the last couple of days, and make sure you stay safe, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sit down, watch
Would you
yourself.
like these?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jeez. That would have been brutal.
Smith. This is Exhibit 71. Put that on the exhibit table. And I don't know who these duplicate records, or maybe the state gave those to Sergeant Evans. Give those back to Agnew Schofield. Council approach, please.
Okay, so hey, Parallax, you asked what happens if the juries ask a dumbass question. The where I've done it in Ohio, I've had 3 different judges do this. I've had, it's only had 3 trials where the judges do this, so it's a little bit limited in experience. But generally speaking, the way it works is, at least for me, all the jurors have to provide a slip of paper. They all write their juror number on it, and it gets sent up. And even if they have no question, they send up a blank piece of paper with like juror number 12 written on it. The questions are written out, and the judge brings counsel up to the bench, and we review them. There are times when the jurors ask questions that are impermissible. They're asking something that's way outside the scope, way in violation of the rules. Oh, shit, he almost tripped. Just ate shit on TV. There will be times where that happens. Oh, we're taking a break or we're done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a recess for a minute. I believe the state's next witness might be Mr. James Martin and Jimmy Martin. Mr. Martin has a lawyer, Mr. James Jones, and I need to contact his lawyer to make sure that Mr. Martin has a right, and he does have a right to talk to his lawyer. And we should, if Mr. Martin and Mr. Jones decide that he wants him to testify, we'll hear from Mr. Martin in a few minutes. So it'll be an appropriate time to take a recess for right now.
Okay.
Remember the court's instruction not to discuss the case.
Okay. So Parallax, I getting back to it. We all sit there, myself and the opposing counsel, whether it's the prosecutor or defense attorney, because I've done both in these situations. The judge starts reviewing the questions and he says, "Do you object, or or will you stipulate to this being asked?" And there's times where I've been on both sides, and I'll say, "Your Honor, I object. I feel that's outside the scope of evidence. That's outside the scope of testimony. It's too prejudicial. It's irrelevant. Yada yada yada. Any number of reasons." There have been times where we both object, and the judge says, "Fuck it, we're asking it." There are times where one party objects, the other doesn't. Judge doesn't allow it in. There have been times where we both want it to come in, and the judge says, "Fuck it, it's not coming in." So it kind of happens any number of ways. Judge going to roll accordingly. Jesus. In total, the testimony was 25 minutes, but the breaks made it seem longer. Jesus Christ, that's funny. But I hope that answers your question. There are times where we all agree we can't ask it. And it's funny because what happens is when those questions are then discussed, let's say 6 jurors ask questions. In Ohio, we have 12-person juries for felony trials. It's automatic. But let's say only half of them ask a question, but let's say 3 of them were bad and we couldn't ask those. So we only asked the 3 questions. We only cover the 3. We don't tell people, hey, 3 of them were bad. We say there's only 3 questions we're going to ask. Now, every once in a while, you'll see whatever juror we snubbed, they'll write a question saying, why the fuck didn't, they'll say, why didn't you answer my question? And they'll get butthurt about it for the next time around. It's hilarious. But that's been my experience with them. If they're dumbass, we just immediately skip it and move on. So I hope that helped a little bit. Under the advice of my attorney, I invoke my 5th Amendment. Yeah, well, it depends. This Jimmy Martin guy, I think he's the guy who might be doing some time already. He might have been given some immunity. So that might not be an issue if he's already been given immunity. But if he's already doing time, they may have promised not to prosecute. I don't know. That would all get delivered during. That'll get delivered during his direct examination. They'll disclose if he's been given immunity, if he's been given any preferred agreements, if anything's been worked out in his favor. How do you keep butthurt cram in your briefcase? Do I keep butthurt cream in my briefcase? No. As an attorney, I'm very vain and I'm a prima donna. And I have a big enough ego, I just assume that everybody else is wrong but me. It's like when we lost the trial this week. I assume the jury fucked it up. Not me. I hope that answers your question, though, Parallax. It's a very good question. Very good question. I know it wasn't really a question, but you wanted to hear, what happens when the jury asks a stupid question. And yeah. And the neat thing is those questions get submitted whenever there's an appeal or whatnot, the record of that case, all the documents and exhibits, all those questions go along with it because it's, documentation put on the record. So it's kind of neat. Those will kind of go on forever. Hey, Gixer, we're still going. So yeah, this should be very interesting. Other thing, actually, while we got a second, I'm curious to see. I got to fire Pacer. I want to see what happened with an asshole juror in Ghislaine Maxwell's case. Everything had to be filed. So here we go. Southern District of stop screen share screen, Chrome. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I don't give a fuck. We're going to go on Pacer and look for it. I'd send a question asking if the prosecutor can fix his collar. I've never seen one like that, but yes. Hey, give the guy a break. His wife finally let him back in the house. What behavioral advice do you give your defendants while they are in court? Oh, that's actually a very good one, because when we were in trial, I had to give my guy some advice. What I would say is, if you've watched A Few Good Men, that speech Tom Cruise gives to everybody, poker faces. If something happens, you are emotionless. It's like you expected that to happen. Even if it's something completely fucking insane. The wall collapses and kills half the jury. You don't react. You expected that to happen. You are a fucking ice cube. You are a stone. You are immovable. You don't flinch. If you write, you take your time and write shit out. You don't frantically start scribbling away on shit. If you have something to give me, when you're done writing, you just go like this, just push it over, and I'll take it and look at it. There's all kinds of things you can do. I tell people though, no crossing arms, no or just like, not shaking your head, none of that shit, nothing. You can just be relaxed and chill. Because that's a big thing. I mean, I think I mentioned this before, but if you're new, like Parallax, I know you're new here for the most part. This is fucking sales at the end of the day. We're selling shit. We're selling an image. That all factors in. The way you look, the way you comport yourself is something the jury takes into consideration. And that might be the pivotal factor. You never know. So it's sales the whole way through. But yeah, that's a big one I have to give defendants. Like, you have to be very like that. I've had, when you're in court for a pretrial hearing or a sentencing or a plea, or even just like a probation hearing. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Not yeah, okay. Huh, or if the judge asks you a question and you're like, huh? No. You say, Your Honor, I didn't understand that. Can you please repeat it? I've been in front of a judge where you go, huh? He's like, huh? He's like, what does that mean? Do you not have the capability to use words in English? Do you not understand me? If you ask me that, I will tell you again. So it's there's a lot to say. There's a lot of just normal rhetoric and normal etiquette. Just be yourself is what I would tell people. Don't pass out. Don't say, can you repeat? Okay, yeah, Matthew. Har, char. Parallax, if you're a defendant, are you happy about wearing a mask? It helps because you can hide some things to an extent, but I mean, usually if you're giving away the store through your nonverbal cues, it's going to be apparent even if you have a mask on. It's just like a job. It is a job interview. I mean, I'm trying to. The prosecutor's selling a narrative. I'm trying to sometimes sell a counter narrative where I'm just saying how bad and how shitty his narrative is. Well, we got to look the part. We got to look like we have our shit down. And if you're over on the other table just looking like a dickhead, that takes away from it. Yes, Chandler got LWOP. That's what we call it on the biz, life without parole, LWOP. So he's done. He's as many of the guys in prison say, he's doing all day and all night. So he's there all day and all night, never coming home. So yeah, his statement, he was asking for help, and I tried to help him, but it was too late. So sad. Anyways, let's look up what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell's stuff. They were supposed to have filed their motions already. If you guys didn't know, PACER is the electronic court system for the Eastern or the federal court system. I'm logged in as me. So yes, you're saying don't bury your head in your hand. Yeah, you can't do that shit because then the jury knows you're fucking hurting. Especially if you're the state, you can't be that way. So anyway, so you guys know who I am. So it's not like I'm worried about my identity. If you want to come at me, I dare you. So where would we like to go? We need to go to the Southern District of New York. Oh, we went too far. New York. The Eastern District is in Brooklyn. The Northern District's like, fuck, I forget. Maybe Albany? I don't remember. Maybe, the Western's in like Rochester, I think. Oh, fuck it. I don't know. I don't go there. Fuck it. Fuck those cocksuckers. Submit. What? Please choose a court. So I did. Maybe this won't let. Oh, I wonder if it won't let me do this on a stream. Bastards. Oh, no, here we go. Okay, Southern District of New York. Document filing system. So here we go. Query. I said queer. And this is what it looks like, and this is how you search from here. So let's see what happened. Case number, last name, Maxwell. Oh, I don't remember how to say her name. Nature of suit. I forget what do they call it down there? I think that's enough for us to figure it out. Then we'll try G. Actually, I think that's how you spell Ghislaine. Oh, damn it. How do you spell it? I think that'll help. Okay, there they go. Ghislaine. We need her criminal case. Party as a defendant. I think this is it. Nope. That is a civil one. Yeah, I'm just racking up the pacer fees. You guys can just keep laughing. Jane Doe. Oh no, that's civil again. Just keep laughing, guys. Keep laughing. USA v. Maxwell. Here we go. Actually, which one is it? Last date of filing, 3/15. Okay, docket report. Run report. So this is what a docket looks like for a federal court case if you ever happen to look at one. It's kind of interesting. Yes, Pacer charges you because of the federal government, and fuck you, that's why. So, yeah, hey, Fluffmaster, I know you're one of the guys who came over from yesterday. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. But yes, Pacer does charge you, and that's not all they charge you for. They charge you for a lot of stuff. I think there's a push to get Pacer to be free, and I think they should be. You should not be charged to look at the records. Now, if you want to download stuff, okay, maybe that's an issue. But just to know this right here, and you want to read what happened in her case, like you're trying to read the docket, I don't feel you should be forced to pay money to know that on 7/6 of 2020 that there was a letter given to the judge, okay? I don't think any of that should happen like that. I don't think that's fair. Now, if you click on this stuff, I could see them maybe wanting to charge money for hosting the documents, but I don't think it's fair for you to not know the story of what happened. So we need to get to the fun part here. Okay, we're still in 2021. So you can see her case got a lot of entries. We're to, November, and it's order 450, or entry 450. So we need to get to 2022. Okay. So we had the hearing, the sealed motion for new trial, document filed, memorandum in opposition. Okay, we got them both. Now, as you can see, download all, 106 pages. Let's see how much that cost me. $3, $3, and $1. Download documents. Yes, they want their money. And it's like, what the fuck? But hey, that's how it goes. Let's see what the memorandum by the state was. Also, if you guys are watching Long Crime stream and you're keeping an eye on it for me, appreciate it. That's fine. Total cost $5.20. So, yep, that's Pacer in a nutshell. I think there's already like a bill in Congress going for that. So I don't think it's an issue yet. But let's see what they bring up. Okay, so I'm just looking. There's a couple exhibits attached to the. Oh, oh. Hmm. This might have to be a video on its own. This is the juror's actual transcript from when he testified during voir dire at the beginning of the case. Oh, that's spicy. I'm gonna have to look at that. So yeah, here we go. Motion for new trial. I will put this up. We can read it together. Still showing the state seal. You speaking in fast forward. Oh, I have a question. Hey, Zulu. Right now I'm sounding funky. Hold on. Is this better? Am I talking faster? Do you guys sound like a robot? Fuck, hold on. Okay, do I sound better now? No, my mic's just running. I don't have it on push to talk mode. Okay, I just unplugged it and replugged it. Yes, Gixer, I'm sorry. Sometimes I can talk fast. If I'm going fast, tell me to slow down. I've had court reporters tell me to slow down before, so when I turn my head, it goes funny. What's going funny? Like what? So, all right. Well, it's better now. Okay. Share video window. Share. Okay. So we have Ghislaine Maxwell's motion for a new trial. Yeah, so Zulu, they just got done with their big forensic analyst for all the cell phone data. Just got done with cross, redirect, and all the jury questions. Looks like somebody's going to come in who may have to testify where there's some Fifth Amendment issues, so I'm already on slow mode. Don't slow down, Sean. Okay, fine. We'll keep it going. All right, so if you guys have never seen federal paperwork, this is what it looks like. It's all electronically filed, so there aren't, clerk of court stamps or, you might see, like, different things put on a document where, might see stuff like that on a document. That's from one of my client files. But this is all electronically filed, so that's why it looks nice and neat and clean. It's one cool thing the federal government has. Anyway, when you look through a really good, well put together brief, table of contents, it's going to be the contents, table of authorities. We'll scroll to that real quick, but you see they break it down a million different parts. Applicable law, arguments. They argue about the different bias, what's going on here. You could slow it down and read these things, what's going on. They're arguing a bunch of things in arguendo. Table of authorities are all your citations. So all the cases you're going to cite, you put them in one spot. I don't know why we do this, but we have to, especially on appeals. The way the fucking courts like it, I don't know. I like footnotes, but hey, nobody really does except the Supreme Court. As you can see, it looks like they have a lot of criminal cases, but they also have civil cases as well. And address different things here. And holy shit, they got a lot of sources. They also cite different constitutional provisions. The biggest one, the Sixth Amendment, your right to a fair and impartial jury. That's my rap sheet starts with. Then there's federal rules. There are the rules of civil procedure, the rules of criminal procedure. The rules of civil procedure dictate how you govern yourself in a civil case. The rules of criminal procedure dictate how criminal cases are to be run, and they have to follow those rules. So think of it as the Constitution gives us rules, the federal law says what you can and can't do. Okay, well, if you break any of those rules, you break federal law and you're being prosecuted, the rules for governing how a trial is done are the federal rules of criminal procedure. So there's going to be an introduction. She moves under Rule 33 of the Federal Procedure for a New Trial. They bring it up, and it's juror number 50. This is the guy who fucked it all up by lying. And by doing that, he defeated her right to a 6 to a fair and impartial jury under the Sixth Amendment. Now, you might hear prosecutors at trials say, oh, well, we both sides need to have a fair and impartial jury. Fuck them. I don't care if the deck's stacked against them. It doesn't matter. The only person who has the right to a fair and impartial jury is the defendant. Fuck the state. Anyways, so, like, there's the introduction. They lay out why they think it should happen. Then there's the factual background. They go through that. They start talking about it. Oh, my God, 66 pages. I'm going to have to do a video on this one. But they focus on what the juror did. He answered a lot of questions not correct compared to what his life experience was. So, as you can see, it goes on and on and on. Now, there are things that are going to be redacted. Those are redacted per court order. Stuff is being filed under seal. Yes, that is very correct. But yes, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that is under seal and things that we're not allowed to talk about. Now, that might be filed. The redactions will be taken away for parties in the case, but we don't get to see what they're talking about here. And so, yeah, there's a big block of shit. Who knows what they're talking about? I don't know. So they just keep going, and you get down to, you read what you can, and now this is done enough that you could probably, if you know enough about the case, you could probably figure out what they're talking about, but I think you'd have to have been there. So, like, Joe Neerman, good logic. He could probably tell us stuff that's blacked out, what that stuff is. He would probably know of anybody. And as you can see, they talk about, like, the partial video interview at the Daily Mail. They talk about a social media activity. He's got a... Yeah, oh, wow. And he speaks to one of the victims? Oh my God. One of the victim's family members he's talking to like that? Oof, that is highly prejudicial. What a dickhead. What a fucking dickhead. He ruined a trial for, like, upvotes on fucking Reddit. Like, Scotty David, you were a dickhead and a half. Hope those updoots were worth it. Yeah, so there's other information here that's blacked out. Going through it. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll try to read it this weekend and digest it and come up with something because, yeah, now that I've got a lull in all my work, I have time to make videos again. So I can do some longer form videos. But Jesus Christ on a crutch. This guy fucked up. Yeah, that looks real bad. Exactly. The state can eat shit as far as getting the trial. And during voir dire this week on Monday morning for my case, the state's like, well, we both need it. You know, we both want a fair and impartial jury. I did off the record when we started, we took a break. I said, can you stop saying that? Because it doesn't fucking matter for you. And the judge agreed and he told him to stop saying that. The judge hadn't really thought about it that way, but it doesn't matter that the fucking deck's stacked against him. It should be. My guy needs every break he can get. Yeah, you gotta watch your social media. It could bite us in the butt. I'm back. There should be a new trial. If there's not, that is an injustice. Yeah, well, that looks real bad. Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. I think he lied. He wanted to get on the jury. He wanted to get on there. Do I think he knew what he was going to do? No, but he intentionally lied to get on the jury. You don't accidentally Helen Keller your way through all of that and then talk about what you did in an interview and proudly say, you know, you basically 12 angry man the jury into convicting her on these counts. I mean, he acts like he's the critical piece for that. The critical juror who got a bunch of people to turn around. So, yeah, that is a big deal. Will my guy go to prison? Yeah, he's probably going to prison. It's not his first time. That doesn't help. The charges were pretty serious. It's just not good. Yeah, he's probably going to prison. There is a very heavy presumption under state law for what he was convicted of that he goes to prison for a while. And it sucks because I don't think he's a bad guy. In his situation, he's got a lot of mental health issues. You know, whether or not he addressed them or should have addressed them, I mean, that's always hard for me to say because, you know, when you're in the middle of like some serious mental health shit, you don't always know what you need to do. Haven't been there myself once or twice, and you know, some of you guys out there may have as well. Fame after the trial, book deal, etc. Maybe. There are some people who are just like dedicated true believers who want to go on there and convict people. That was happening in Derek Chauvin's trial. There was that one juror who was like, "Fuck yeah, I did it. Black Lives Matter." Or the juror who gave the interview for Kim Potter was like all thrilled and stoked up about it. You know, there's some ideological ideas that people get on juries too. Should probably go back to getting that ready. And just having it set up. So, yeah, guys, and like I said, if I'm answering questions and I feel like I didn't answer it the right way, let me know. I'd be happy to re-answer it in a different way that makes sense. But it could have been for the book deal and all that other stuff. You never know. Fuck. Where's my fingernail? Like popping off. Yeah, the state has unlimited money. They can draw out the process. Yeah, they don't need anything to help them. They have an army of investigators. They have the presumption of being the good guys. I mean, you watch like Law and Order or any number of things out there, like, you know, Law and Order, like there was that, you know, all those stupid Chicago police, like, put a gun on them. Like, they had one about the prosecutors. There's a lot of pro-state, like, pornography. It's like prosecutor porn. Like, yay, it's so sexy working hard for being the state. It's like, no, that's fucking awful. They should not be that way. But it encourages that, like CSI, NCIS, where all those guys, they're fucking cops. So that's a problem. No, not a Michelob Ultra. So, what do I think about like Making a Murderer? I stayed away from that one. I did not get involved with it. I didn't watch it. Maybe I need to at some point. Does the state fuck up? Yeah. And do they get the wrong guys? And do they do corrupt things? Yes. But I don't know. I just know from there are a lot of attorneys I know on both sides of it when it came out, when I was practicing, when it came out, that basically went full retard one way or another. So I feel like that's like a lightning rod. I may watch it, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm the type of guy who, you know, they don't, you know, if you want to see kind of being on the other side of stuff like Goliath, it's on Amazon Prime. It's got Billy Bob Thornton on it. That's kind of like fighting on the other side. But there aren't a ton of shows where you fight from the other side. I mean, it doesn't sound as, I guess, sexy or cool, but, you know, everyone see fucking Sam Waterston and fucking Law and Order and, oh, it's so fucking hard being a prosecutor and those shystery dickhead defense attorneys. Like, yeah, there aren't really good. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't sell to people. People inherently like the state. Oppress me harder, daddy. I don't know. Maybe that's why. Prosecutor porn put banger in my mind. Sorry, Matthew, but it's people love to see shows about them. They don't like seeing shows about defense attorneys or public defenders or the fucking cops, like, you know, or PIs. I think there was that one show where they were the conviction integrity unit, but they were in the prosecutor's office, so they were still prosecutors. They couldn't even just have like fucking defense attorneys. Presumption of an instance is, oh yeah. Oh, Parallax, here's the easy way. Number one, they said you did it, and they have an indictment. Number two, you're sitting there. And number three, you're usually sitting there wearing a suit. For most jurors, that's good enough. You wouldn't be there unless they thought you did it. And they're already prejudiced against you. So yeah, a lot of times it's digging out of a hole. Boston Legal was a pretty funny show, yeah. But I mean, it's funny, but it doesn't it doesn't cover the it can be funny, but it's rough. I mean, like this case I took, I got appointed to the guy. I wasn't even hired by him. The court I was appointed because the guy couldn't afford an attorney and the public defender couldn't represent him. And we went all the way. Part of that case taking it to trial, was his right. You know, I've got to be invested in that trial. I've got to buy into what I'm trying to do. Because if I go up there and I'm not into it, I'm not feeling it, I'm not selling it at all, well, those jurors are going to see that. And they're going to know my heart's not in it. I mean, you have to go into these thinking, fuck yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to steal fucking victory out from underneath your feet like a thief in the night. Just like some Indiana Jones level shit. Sneaking in there and taking over. And when you don't, you lose. And then you lose. You know, at the end of the day, you also know I'm supposed to lose. Like, the odds are not in my favor. This isn't a good case. But you have to fucking... I mean, you gotta know you're taking a fucking stinker in there and you're trying to make it work and you know, everything you got on it. And it gets to you at times. It can really get to you. Especially if you actually think you have a decent case, which I've happened to have sometimes as a defense attorney. Pretty good facts, and you still fucking lose. I mean, those are even worse. And then the ones where you're, you know, it's, sorry, I'm going to stop. I'll stop. I know it's getting a little preachy. And I don't want to start, like, sounding like a cryy little bitch. So, I'm just saying, I'm glad that, you know, there's some shows that are funny about it, but this shit gets to you. I mean, there are burnout among public defenders and defense attorneys is very common because it gets to you when you know you always are going to lose and you very rarely win. But when you do win, can't beat it. And usually when you win, usually it's for somebody, you know, you feel like you're doing righteous work. So, I feel like you're doing God's work. So, that's kind of the plus side. Well, I fucking killed the mood really bad. Holy shit. Damn, sorry guys. So, yeah. That was a great way to kill the afternoon. And it's like, I'm here in Ohio and it's like 70 fucking degrees and, you know, here I go kind of shitting all over everything. Sorry, I got my best friend talking to me. Just shot me a text. Alright, that's fine, yeah. I'm sure by the time you get back, we'll still be sitting here talking about bullshit. I do righteous work. Maybe a lot of days I feel like I do more on ranching, but yeah, sometimes it's righteous. Is my girlfriend an attorney? Hold on. Hey, sweetheart. Yeah. People want to know, they want to know if you're an attorney too. Yeah. You're gonna laugh at that? Okay. Why did they ask? Because it's people on the fucking internet. I don't know. They ask questions. I told them to ask questions. No, she is not an attorney. God, I don't know if I could fucking live with another attorney. I'm a big enough dickhead as it is. Going to law school didn't help it at all. So no, I don't know how people are married to other attorneys. That just blows my fucking mind. I mean, a female version of me would just make me want to... I don't know if I can handle that. No, my girlfriend,
Thomas?
she is involved in insurance work.
Jimmy Martin.
Well, we argue a lot anyway. I usually win,
For the record,
so I'm pretty good at it.
James Jones,
She does,
Mr. Jones,
I forget what her job role is now, but it used to be like business intelligence, so I was like, cool, we're doing some espionage shit. But yeah, it's she does some work. She does a lot of insurance work, a lot of like planning and acquisition work for the company she works for. So here we go.
Jimmy,
She's definitely my better half. Amazing woman. Especially making sure I get the turkey.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martin.
No relation.
We made an exhibit and talked about in front of the jury. And I think the court already knows this too. Defense counsels have had this for years. They've made reference to it already. There is a memorandum of understanding that was executed in 2012.
Yes, sir.
In regard to Mr. Martin. That provided Mr. Martin what is called use immunity.
Yes, sir.
Which would be the truthful statements made by him at that time, here, now, whenever, about this case would not be used against him at any proceeding. So he does have this use immunity memorandum of understanding that will make an exhibit and that has been provided to everybody.
Sir. We'll have that marked as next exhibit. Mr. Jimmy Martin, raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Oh, is he in a jumper? Oh, he's a jumpsuit.
Have a seat right here, please, sir.
Well, here he goes. Kashink, kashink, kashink.
Mr. Martin, good afternoon, sir. Ms. Martin, if you will, please state your name and spell it for the record and the court reporter, please, sir.
Jimmy Martin. J-I-M-M.
I was about to say, take that fucking mask off, bro. You can't do that.
Ms. Martin, you have an attorney who represents you, is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Your attorney for the record is,
James Jones.
and he's present in court today, is that correct? Ms. Jones, Ms. Martin's looking for you.
There you go. Yes, sir.
On the first row, I believe a brown or tan suit, brown suit, I believe. And Mr. Jones is your lawyer and has been your lawyer for how long, sir?
For 8 years.
8 years. You have a case that's actively pending in court right now.
Yes.
And what court is that in?
It's in James Lemon Court.
In Division 5 Criminal Court, Judge Lammy. And Mr. Jones is your lawyer on that case, is that correct?
Correct.
And it's actively in court, is that correct?
Correct.
You understand that you cannot be called as a witness in this case when you have a case that's pending. You're represented by an attorney unless you and your lawyer tell me to just coffee, I'm willing to testify in this case. You understand that, sir?
Correct.
If you and Mr. Jones tell me just coffee, Mr. Martin has a case pending. He wants to exercise any Fifth Amendment rights against any possible self-incrimination, and he's chosen not to testify as a witness. Nobody will call you. You can't even be called and have the jury and tell the jury that on the witness stand. I would tell that your name would never be mentioned. You understand that, sir?
Correct.
Now, if you tell me, and Mr. James Jones told me to just coffee, I talked to Mr. Martin. He understands his constitutional rights. He understands the consequences of testifying.
I think this is being done outside the jury right now.
Mr. Billy
Should be.
Turner, and that he's willing to waive those rights, and he's willing to testify as a witness and answer questions truthfully. Now, that's 100% your decision. You understand that, sir?
Correct.
And again, I told you nobody calls you as a witness unless you tell me you want to testify. Mr. Jones has given you advice as to what you should do, but whether or not you take this witness stand and testify is 100% up to you. Do you understand that, sir?
Correct.
And have you talked to Mr. Jones about this in order to make an informed decision as to what you want to do, Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
And your decision now is to do what, sir?
Proceed.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Proceed.
To proceed and testify, is that correct?
Correct.
Does anyone threaten you, promise anything, put any force or pressure on you in order to get you to make that decision, sir?
No, sir.
You have your lawyer present. He'll be here throughout the course of your testimony if you have any questions. But if you tell me to just call, if I need to talk to my lawyer, you let me know. And I'll give you a chance to talk to your attorney. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Any questions, sir?
No, sir.
And for the record, I'm going to find that Mr. Jimmy Martin has been advised by his attorney, Mr. James Jones, and his court that since he is in fact represented by an attorney, does have a case pending in these criminal courts, that he has a Fifth Amendment right against possible self-incrimination, that he cannot be called, cannot be compelled to give testimony in this case against Mr. Billy Turner, and that he understands that is in fact his personal right, and that he has waived intelligently, knowingly, and voluntarily his right to remain silent and will in fact allow the state to call Mr. Martin as a witness, as Mr. Martin has told me that his desire is to testify in this case. We'll bring the jury in and also introduce Mr. Jones and make sure that the jury understands that Mr. Martin's lawyer is here. There were some statements made on voir dire, or maybe opening statements, and I want to make sure that we don't do that again. Tennessee law says that a jury can never be apprised of a possible punishment in a case. Can't talk about it, can't tell the jury about it, can never be discussed unless it's a capital murder case and you voir dire in a jury on the death penalty, likely without possibility of parole or life imprisonment. And there were some statements made that indicated Mr. Mr. Martin had been convicted of a certain offense and was sentenced to a certain number of years in prison. And that's something that we can't do. Jurors cannot understand, can never be told what the possible punishment is for any convictions of any criminal crimes, specifically prohibited by our legislature and by the Supreme Court. So if there's some questions that want to be asked as to whether or not he's being convicted of a crime, serving sentence for a crime, cannot talk about what the particular sentence is, cannot talk about what the charge may have been and of what he was actually convicted, because that tells his jury necessarily what the possible punishment is on this case and any other included offenses that the court might charge. And our legislature and the statute says that a jury can never be informed about the possible punishment because sentencing is something that the jury does not
but
consider.
that's going to be
That's
if he
what the
has
jury
any deals or anything
and their
made on his
preliminary
behalf.
instructions, if there
They
is
would
a
have to have the
conviction
right
on
to
this
know what
case,
that is.
the court would set the punishment at a separate sentence, and here on the jury would not be involved in setting punishment. And the Supreme Court has been clear
Curious
that
to see how they're gonna walk
no
around that.
parties, including the judge,
Maybe I just don't
can tell
understand
the
Tennessee
jury
law.
what the range of punishment is or possible punishment is, and will order all lawyers to avoid making any references to punishment. What Mr. Martin may have been charged with, what he pled guilty to,
No
was
relation.
convicted by jury, and what his sentence was. Those are not permissible questions. We'll order both sides to stay away from any issues dealing with specific punishment. Are both sides ready to proceed? Jeff Smith, can you bring in the jury, please, sir?
Yes, he is currently in custody. He's in prison. He's serving time for another crime. So yes, he's in prison attire. And his legs are most likely shackled together. That's why you saw him gingerly walk up there. And that wristband on his arm is from the jail. So yes, he's a prisoner.
Yes, sir.
Tear down those walls, yes. These carpeted walls. I mean, God, somebody in the 70s thought that was a good fucking idea. That's a crime right there. Whoever came up with that. Yeah. He did something, I forget what it was, but yeah, he's already got a murder case he's already doing time on.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Be seated. Mr. Martin, I swear in outside the presence of the jury, but if you can step down from the witness stand and be sworn in front of the jury, please, sir. Raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, please, sir.
Right back, guys. Got me a little bit.
Mr. Martin, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you were given in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Thank you, sir. Mr. Martin, have a seat up here, please, sir. And we did this a few minutes ago, but for the record, Mr. Martin, if you could state and spell your name for the jury and the court report in the record, please, sir.
Jimmy Martin. JIMMIEMARTIN.
Ms. Martin, for the purposes of this record and the jury, you have a case that's pending in court. I think you told me a few minutes ago, Judge Lambie's court. Is that correct?
Yes, I have a post-conviction pen.
Okay. And you're represented by a lawyer on that case. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your lawyer for the record and for the jury is who, sir?
James Jones.
Mr. James Jones. You stand up for a moment, Mr. Jones. Thank you, sir. Mr. Jones has been representing you for how long now, sir?
8 years.
8 years. Mr. Jones, thank you, sir. Thank you for being in court this afternoon. Mr. Martin, I told you a few minutes ago that because you have a case that's pending, you have a lawyer that you cannot be called as a witness in this case unless you and your lawyer tell me that you're willing to testify under oath and listen to the questions that are asked by both sides. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And I told you that that there's your personal right that if you chose to waive any possible rights against self-incrimination, you will be allowed to testify. If you told the just cause that you choose not to testify, I told you that you cannot be compelled to testify. You understand it, sir?
Yes, sir.
You told me a few minutes ago that you wanted to testify. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, is that your decision, sir?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone threatened you, promised anything, put any force or pressure on you in order to get you to make that decision, Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
And I also told you that if someone asks a question of you and you need to talk to Mr. Jones to let me know, and I will allow you to consult or talk to your lawyer. You understand that, sir?
Correct.
You have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hagerman, you may proceed.
All right, Mr. Martin, keep your voice up. Keep it up for me. You're doing good, okay?
Okay.
A little bit louder.
All right.
Okay, that's good. Before we start, I'm going to ask you about things that happened 10 years ago, okay? And actually, before that, I'm going to ask about things that happened more than 10 years ago. But I want to ask you, am I approaching?
Yes, sir, you may.
Do you recognize this document here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is it a document from 2012?
Yes, sir.
In fact, is it what is called a Memorandum of Understanding, a agreement that provides what's called use immunity with regard to your information?
Correct.
And is it signed by you?
Yes, sir.
And it's also signed by prosecutors long before me in 2012, is that correct?
Correct.
And I've reviewed this document with you, is that correct?
Correct.
Your attorneys back then reviewed the document with you, is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Jones has seen it too, is that right?
Correct.
In 2012, did you agree and actually come forward to talk to investigators with regard to the case involving the murder of Lorenzen Wright?
Yes, sir.
And at the time you did that, was this agreement, this memorandum of understanding, signed by you and signed by the district attorneys at the time?
I believe it was afterwards, but at the same time, yes. Around the same time.
And this agreement that I've explained to you, your attorneys explained to you previously, provides that you will tell the truth at all times, the whole truth, and nothing about the truth. That you'll waive your rights and you'll do those things. And if you do, the state of Tennessee agrees, and I'm reading this, agrees that no statement made by you pursuant to this will be presented to any grand jury, pettit jury, or any finder of fact.
It's called use
Nor
testimony,
using such statement as a basis for any indictment.
but they could still indict him on separate
information,
evidence.
Or other charging instrument concerning the subject offenses. Does that sound familiar to you? A lot of legal talk. Does that sound familiar?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Does that mean to you that if you tell the truth, the things you say cannot be used against you to charge you with this conspiracy to kill Lorenzen Wright?
Correct.
I'd like to offer this into evidence to jury factors as the state's explanation.
Here, Mr. Thomas, any objections? No, yeah. The record is exhibit number 7272. This is a memorandum of understanding entered into by Jimmy Martin in the state of Tennessee, signed by Mr. Martin, signed by Mr. Thomas Henderson, Thomas Henderson, Henderson, as an assistant district attorney general, and also signed by Mr. Martin's then counsel, exhibit number 72, a memorandum of understanding. You may proceed, Mr. Hagerman.
I told you, Mr. Martin, that we're going to talk about something that happened 10 years ago, which is a long time ago, right? Let's start even before that, okay? Where are you from?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, but I grew up in Batesville, Mississippi.
Born in Memphis?
Yeah, born, raised, well,
When did you start living in Batesville?
probably when I was young.
Okay. Do you even remember when y'all moved
I don't
from
know.
Memphis to Batesville?
I thought I was in the same spot.
Okay. And who raised you down in Batesville?
I was raised by my mother
All right, and what's your mother's name?
in the Richardson.
And did you go to school down in Batesville?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go to school in Batesville?
South Another High School.
Did you play any sports there?
No, sir.
Did you graduate from South Panola?
Graduated.
And what did you do after you left South Panola?
I listened to the United States Navy.
And were you in the Navy?
Yeah, I was in the Navy.
How long were you in the Navy?
I did 8 years in the Navy.
8 years. What did you do in the Navy?
I was a hospital corpsman.
Hospital corpsman?
Yes, sir.
And what did that involve?
It involved LPN work. I was like a licensed practitioner nurse.
Okay. And where all were you stationed?
I was stationed in San Diego, Chicago, Millington, Seattle.
You ever on carrier?
I was on the USS Abraham Lincoln.
For how long?
I did about a year on the carrier, 6 months after sea.
Where all in this world have you been?
I've been in Portugal, Spain, Africa, Italy, Singapore, Thailand, Australia, Canada, Mexico,
Around the world.
around the world.
All in the Navy?
Yes, sir.
Did you like being in the Navy?
Yes, sir.
After 8 years, did you leave it though?
After 8 years, I left. This would be close to home. This would be to take care of moms.
And where'd you move back to after you left the Navy?
I moved back to Memphis.
Was your mom living in Memphis or Batesville?
She lived in Batesville at the time.
And just so we know about how far is Memphis from Batesville, how long does it take you?
30 minutes.
Not particularly far.
Not far at all.
What were you doing when you were living in Memphis and coming down to Batesville? Did you have a job after you left the Navy?
When I left the Navy, I got employed with Pediatrics East.
What was that kind of business?
It was I was a nurse with Pediatrics East in Memphis,
Okay.
or Germantown.
How long did you do that for?
I did that for a couple of months, about probably 6 months.
Okay. Did you stop doing that?
Yeah, I went to school. I got enrolled in school at Vatterott. I went to IT work, do IT work. This was really my passion, is IT.
Is IT stuff? Did you complete your courses there at Vatterott?
During the course, a fatal accident happened. I ended up in jail.
I'm not going to ask you about that, but there will be some questions as we go about whether or not you had a case going on at the time, whether or not you had an attorney at the time, whether or not you're out on bond, things like that.
Okay.
But I'm not going to ask you about the subject matter of the case that you had going on. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Relation with Sherra Wright.
Sherra Wright is my cousin.
Okay, and what's the family tree there?
She'll be my first cousin. She's my mother's sister's daughter.
Okay, she's your mother's sister's daughter.
Correct.
And growing up, did you see much of Sherra Wright?
Growing up, I did.
Growing up, you did? When you came back to Memphis after the Navy, did you see much of Sherra Wright?
Not much as I did growing up.
I'm going to ask you about seeing Sherra Wright in May of 2010. Okay? But first, I want to ask you about the other things you had going on in 2010, 2009. After you stopped nursing, after you stopped going to school, were you also trying to be a musician?
At the time, throughout my whole career in the Navy, I was dealing with the music industry.
Okay, what kind of music did you do?
I did, well, me personally, I did rap, but I produced rap, R&B, grunge.
And that was stuff that you did while you were in the Navy, is that right?
Correct.
And is it stuff that you kept on doing?
That I continue to do.
Did you have a rap name?
Yes.
What was your rap name?
It was Trickster.
Trickster?
Yeah.
And did you perform shows and concerts?
Yes, sir.
jump back 12 years. May of 2010. Okay? Did you have, or did Sherra Wright approach you with any sort of proposition?
May Sherra came to Batesville. She was telling me about that Ren needed somebody to take care of his Rottweilers.
Okay, see that Sherra came to baseball. Is that weird or not?
Not particularly.
Okay.
She'll come down and visit my mom. So when she had told me she had a job for me, well, actually, Ren had already told me prior to it that he wanted me to come up there and train his Rottweiler the same way I trained my dog.
Okay, you train dogs, is that right?
Correct.
I didn't ask this before. Did you know Lorenzen Wright?
Yeah. And Ren was close.
So Sherra comes to baseball and asks you about the Rottweilers.
We were close, but close enough.
So
I
I'm
didn't
thinking
mind
this when
blowing
she
his
come
head
down
off.
and talk to me about.
Yes,
So
those
when
are
she
my
brings
dogs.
me to Memphis, I get to the house, and the whole subject matter changed.
All right, so let me interrupt you here. She comes to baseball, is that correct?
Correct.
And you go back to Memphis?
Go to Memphis.
Do you remember 12 years ago? Do you remember whether or not you went back with her, or
Yeah, I
you
went.
met her back up there, or what?
I went back with her.
Okay. And where'd y'all go to?
Went to her house.
Had you ever been to her house before?
Not this house.
Not this house? And you said subject matter changed.
Yeah, subject matter changed, completely changed.
What do you mean by that?
It went from, I got a job for you, that I'm thinking I'm talking about the dogs, to a ploy to kill Lorenzen Wright.
Ploy to kill Lorenzen Wright.
Correct.
What'd you think about that?
What I thought about it was that Sherra going through some things. You know, everybody go through things where they just talking off the wall, where they just losing their mind.
And did you know her well? Did you know Sherra well?
Yeah, I knew her well.
Would you describe her as the most stable person?
I wouldn't describe it as stable, though.
So you figure she was just talking.
Just talking.
What'd you say to her when this subject matter came up?
It's not the business you want to be in.
Not the business you want to be in. Do you know why she'd come to you for this?
Oh, the only reason I can just, she didn't say why. The only thing that comes to my mind is that I was in a particular bind.
Okay, and so we've got to talk around it because other cases can be brought up, everything. We've got to talk around it. But at the time this happens in May of 2010, do you have criminal charges against you?
Correct.
And would it be fair to say, not saying you did it or you didn't, fair to say violent criminal charges?
Correct.
Okay. Had Sherra and Lorenzen been involved in anything having to do with your court case?
Sherra or Lorenzen?
Yes.
Yeah, Sherra, actually, my mom contacted her for lawyer advice, and she recommended a lawyer to my mom.
Okay.
So she knew about what I had pending.
Okay. And when you're arrested for the court case, are you given a bond?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how was your attorney and your bond paid for?
A bond was paid for by me and my friends and family.
Okay. How about your attorney?
My attorney was paid for by me. The first what you call it, retainer.
The first part was paid by you. How about parts after that?
The parts after that by family and friends.
Okay. Was Sherra involved at all in paying for the attorney?
Yes, she was involved on the second trial.
This charge goes on for a while and has several hearings and things like that.
Went on for
Because it has several hearings, the attorney has to be paid several different times.
several different
Is that
times.
correct?
Correct.
At some point, did Sherra pay for the attorney?
Correct.
All right, so that's not the business you want to be in. What happens after you tell her that?
After that, they get into a brainstorming session on, well, if we do this, how best to do it.
And is this at the house?
This is at the house.
Is there anybody else at the house?
I would say it was me, Billy, Sherra, and a pregnant lady.
Pregnant lady?
I don't know her name.
We'll start with those names, though. Obviously, we know who Sherra is and we know who you are. You say Billy. Who's Billy?
That's what I know him as Billy,
Okay.
but
And how did you know him at all?
through Sherra.
Through Sherra. And did you know what his relationship to Sherra was?
No.
Had you ever met with Billy or talked with Billy previous to May of 2010 when this meeting
I
happened?
may have met Billy before, but I don't remember any dealings with him.
So you didn't have a relationship or anything with Mr. Turner, Billy Turner, before
Right, so-
May of 2010?
No, sir.
When Sherra's talking about this business that she shouldn't be in, killing Lorenzen, is Billy Turner there?
Yes, sir.
Obviously you're there. Is this pregnant lady there?
Yes, sir.
And you describe it as what, brainstorming?
Like brainstorming, they were coming up with ways of how to best, perform the act,
Okay, and what act are we talking about?
the murder of the victim.
All right. And you say they were coming up with
I
ways.
mean, we were.
You were too, weren't you? Do you remember details about ways y'all talked about?
I mean, there's a lot of details, but yeah, I remember some details.
What are the details? I know this is 12 years ago, but what are the details you remember?
It was like just, you got to catch them somewhere where ain't a lot of people.
Catching somewhere where there are not a lot of people?
Yeah,
Okay.
things like of that nature.
Do you remember, like, who suggested what details? You remember what details you suggested?
I couldn't say. I couldn't remember.
At any time, did anybody in the meeting, did you ever stand up in the middle of the meeting and, throw your arms up and say, "This is crazy, I'm running out the door and going to the police"?
No.
No. Did Billy Turner, did he ever stand up, throw his arms up and say, "This is crazy, I'm running out and going to the police"?
No.
And the pregnant female,
No.
and obviously Miss Wright didn't either.
No.
How does this meeting, this conversation, whatever you want to brainstorm in, how does it conclude? What happens?
Concluded with everybody just went their separate ways. Once everybody got tired, it was time getting late. Everybody just went their separate ways. It wasn't like we write down anything.
This wasn't like a board meeting.
It wasn't a board meeting.
Nobody was taking minutes last time. And from this meeting, was there any hard, detailed plan that had been hatched?
Wasn't notes like at a board meeting.
No.
The idea to kill Lorenzen.
Just the idea.
It's like The Wire.
So
You
to
took
me,
your
it was
notes on
like
a conspiracy?
people just getting stuff off their chest. It wasn't real. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Were you hoping it happened or hoping it didn't happen?
I was hoping it didn't happen.
Where did you go after this meeting? Do you remember?
I head back to Batesville.
Do you remember if you went yourself or did somebody drive you, or do you not remember?
I really don't remember, but I know they drove. I didn't drive.
Okay, you didn't drive.
Yeah, I didn't drive up there.
Do you remember how you feel? I mean, do you remember how you feel after that? Do you feel like you're getting to be part of something bigger, or you just,
No, it
what's
just
going on?
felt surreal. Like it's not really happening. It's just a fantasy somebody having.
Okay. Well, what happens next with regard to this thing?
Boy, I said, what's going on with the boy?
Yeah.
That's when they called me up there for a second meeting.
Okay, you say they called you up there, what you talking
I
about?
mean, I don't mean they as in most people called, but
Okay, what do you mean?
I mean, Sherra called me up there. She called and said, I'm coming to pick you up.
Okay. Did she come down to baseball game?
And then she come down to Batesville.
And are we still in May of 2010?
Yes, around that time.
Okay. And does she in fact pick you up?
Yes, sir.
And where did she take you?
She took me back to her place.
And is there anybody else at her house the second time?
I believe it was me, Billy, Sheriff Billy, and some other gentleman. I don't know who it was.
Where were y'all at in the house when y'all talking about stuff?
We was in the kitchen.
Was this other gentleman who said you don't know who he is, where was he at in the house when y'all talked about stuff?
He was in the living room.
Do you know if he was part of this thing or not?
I don't know who he was. I thought he was probably just someone there, just there.
And through the years, have the police showed you pictures and asked you if that's the person or that's the person, stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
But this is a person you said you don't know.
I don't. After that day, we had no other meetings with this guy.
Never saw him again.
No problem.
This second time, Billy's there, Sharon there. Is the pregnant lady there the second time?
I don't believe so.
What's discussed the second time?
The second time, this was when we talked about the equipment that we need to perform the act.
All right, when you say equipment and the act, let's talk about both those things. Just right out the weapons. Those are kind of weapons y'all talked about, guns.
Okay.
And the act, what are we talking about?
The murder of Lorenzen.
This second time, are there more detailed plans?
Yes, there's more detailed plans and there's weapons involved.
All right, what kind of weapons are there? Do you know?
It was
Just
just
generally.
It was just a couple of guns.
Do you remember how many guns?
I believe either 2 or 3.
2 or 3 guns? And do you remember who provided these guns, like where they came from or anything?
I don't know who had them. It was already there.
Okay, you didn't, did you bring them up there?
I ain't bring.
And when you got out of the car with Sherra, did you see whether or not Sherra had guns on her when y'all got out of the car?
She didn't have them on.
She didn't have them on? Okay, so these guns were there when you and Sherra got back from
When we got
this.
there.
Did y'all discuss who was gonna do what with these guns?
There's a lot of discussion on who would do what. It's just
Tell me
mainly it was okay if you go. Like if I go, I'm gonna take one of them with me and go do it on my own,
go where?
wherever the chosen spot. This
Okay.
was not hashed out yet.
Chosen spot not hashed out. But if you're gonna go and do it, you're gonna take a gun.
We're gonna take one.
Okay. And how about Billy?
If Billy was chosen to do it, he would take just one.
And you said chose, who was gonna choose who does what, or is there a leader, or what's going on?
Only way I could see that it was a leader of what was going on was Sheriff was dictating what
Okay,
was
Sherra was dictating? Even though there wasn't a specific spot picked out, did y'all talk about possible spots?
Yeah, we talked about possible areas.
Do you remember now any of those areas that y'all talked about?
I remember one area was Atlanta.
Atlanta? And do you know where Lorenzen was living back then?
Yes, sir.
Where is he living?
He's living in a condominium complex.
The condominium complex in Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Was there talk about if it was done in Atlanta, who was gonna go do it?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
It was me.
It was gonna be you.
Yes, sir.
And again, you didn't jump up, raise your arms up in the air and said, I'm gonna run out of here and call the police.
No, sir.
Why didn't you? Not necessarily call the police, but why were you still sitting there listening to this and agreeing to this?
Because when someone comes to you with a murder plot, if they're planning to kill someone they love, you're like the lowest man on the totem pole. They have no problem killing you.
Did you feel pressured?
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure.
Did you in any way feel indebted to Sherra?
No, sir.
You didn't feel like you owed her anything?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, was she
Oh,
paying
he
for
thought he
your
might get
attorney?
clips
Not
out of
this-
his
not this
cheese.
time.
She wasn't paying for her attorney yet? I understand. But what happens at the end of this meeting?
At the end of this meeting, that's when everybody went their separated the same way. We still haven't hashed out where to go. I'm actually stalling this meeting out. I'm throwing stuff out there that never worked.
What do you say, stalling and throwing stuff out that never works? What are we talking about?
Because I'm thinking like, nah, we're not gonna do this. Y'all crazy. You lose your mind. But I don't want to say this to a crazy person.
You saw a crazy person, you know about sheriff.
Yeah. I don't want to rock the boat and then they want to X me out.
Do you remember Billy saying anything in particular at this meeting?
Man, I felt the same consensus from Billy. Like, this was crazy.
You felt the same consensus from Billy, meaning you got the sense that he thought this conversation was crazy
Yes.
too. But he was sitting there like you,
Yeah.
part of this thing.
Because once you're involved in a conspiracy, either way you go, if it happens and you go tell it, man, police come down on you. So that's how we look at it.
She had driven you to this meeting from Batesville, is that correct?
Correct.
When you left this meeting, where'd you go?
Well, when I left the meeting, I was handed the car keys and was told it was Billy's car and to take it back with me.
Okay, so you
Billy.
were
Take
given-
myself to back to Batesville.
You were given Billy's car to go back to Batesville.
I don't know who. They said it was Billy's car.
You don't know if it was Billy's car or not.
Correct.
Do you remember what kind of car it was, what kind of color it was, or anything?
I know it was I believe it was a gunmetal colored Dodge.
And I tell you what, I'm gonna pass you a picture, ask you to ignore all this damage to it, but ask you to look at the color, look at the type of car, and tell me if that was a similar car, similar color.
It's a similar car and similar color.
All right, have that marked as license number.
Here, Thomas, please. There was some interjections.
No objection, Your Honor.
This will be exhibit number 7373. Photograph describing Mr. Martin as a gun-colored car. It appears to be the same car, similar model, similar color as the car he was driven to drive back to Batesville. Exhibit number 73.
I told you to ignore all the damage to it when I showed it to you, right, Ms.
Yeah.
Martin? My apologies to the jury.
Yes, sir, ma'am. Yes, sir.
You were told this was Billy's car.
Yes,
Who
yes,
told
sir.
you that? Do you remember?
Sheriff.
What did you do with this car after the car keys are handed to you?
Probably headed to Mississippi, to Batesville.
Did anything happen while you were driving this car when you were on your way to Mississippi?
I remember one detail that just stuck out was that Sherra called me and told me when I get there, look in the trunk.
When you get there, look in the trunk.
Yes, sir.
Did you stop the car and immediately look in the trunk, or did you continue on your way?
Continue on my way.
Once you got there, what'd you do?
Well, when I got there, I opened the trunk, and it was some guns in the trunk, marijuana, and some money.
Do you remember how much money?
I don't remember how much money, about $300, $500.
And things that happened 12 years ago, I'm not going to ask you to guess about, okay?
Okay.
So, do you remember exactly how much money it was in there?
No, sir.
Do you remember how many guns were in there?
It was 3.
Looks like they went down on law and crime. All right, we may switch over to ABC 24.
Yes, sir.
What kind of guns were they?
25, 38, and Magnum.
25, 38, and a Magnum. When you say Magnum, that means to me it's like a 357 Magnum, a big.
Correct.
Is that what it was?
357 Magnum.
Well, now you're in Batesville.
Sorry, guys. Law and crime's fucking up. We'll switch to a different one.
It's part of this scheme or whatever.
Okay, I get a call from Sherra to tell me to, asking me to head to Atlanta and that Lorenzen should be at his condo.
And if I'm right, we had started in May. Would this be in June of 2010?
I believe around that time.
Asking you to head to his condo.
Correct.
Did y'all talk about you and Sherra when she asked you to head to his condo? You know what that meant, right?
I already knew it, man.
You knew what that meant. Did y'all talk about what exactly you were going to do when you get there or anything like that?
Yeah, it was basically catch Lorenzen in a compromised position and take care of him.
What was a
Take care of
compromise?
him.
What's a compromising position?
If I can catch him out, it'll be fine. If I can catch him in the house,
Catch him where you could.
catch him.
Had you discussed with Sherra at this
Get
point?
got, as the kids say.
Got guns. Going to Atlanta. What's your payment? What were you going to get for this thing?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering the whole time.
You were wondering that the whole time.
Yeah.
Would you ever ask her?
You agreed to fucking kill
Hey,
someone and didn't
never,
agree on price. What an idiot.
Discussed at that time.
The payment wasn't discussed? Is that what you
What a
said?
dumbass.
It was just known that you would be fully compensated.
There was an understanding.
I understand.
When she called you and told you to go to Atlanta, do you remember, were you supposed to go that same day or
Same day.
you were supposed to go the same day? And did you go to Atlanta that same day?
No sir.
Did you go to Atlanta that next day?
No sir.
Well, tell us what you did.
Man, I just stayed at the house.
Did you tell her you went to Atlanta?
Yeah, I told her when she called. I said I went to Atlanta and didn't find her.
Did she like that?
No, she got upset.
You think she believed you that she even went?
No, she didn't believe it.
She didn't believe you.
Yes.
And had you actually gone and off?
No sir. She
Sounds
knew
like you were being a bit of a con man.
Yeah, I was. She knew I was lying. That's my cousin.
Did she get mad at you?
Yeah.
Did she fuss at you?
I mean, she was like, ain't fussing at me, but she was telling me, yeah, I'm upset. We need to get this done. We need to take care of this. And blah, blah, blah.
What happens next?
What happened next is she calls me up, or I don't know if it's through text or through a call. Somebody, to go with me. She still want to go to Atlanta. She said she had just been from Atlanta and she left one of the doors, one of the windows unlocked.
She said, so there's a couple things here. She said that she had just got back from Atlanta.
Got back from Atlanta.
And she said she had left some, what'd you say?
Windows unlocked
Some windows unlocked.
Correct.
Windows unlocked where?
at the condominium.
Lorenzen's condominium?
Correct.
And she said she had somebody to go with you?
Yes, sir.
Did she tell you on the phone who that person was that was gonna go with you?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Billy.
And did that surprise you at all?
No, sir.
Because Billy had been at the other meetings.
Correct.
After that phone call, did you in fact hook up with Billy to go to Atlanta?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how that happened?
I was supposed to go up to Memphis and get him, but they ended up coming down and we drove from there.
You say they ended up coming down.
Him and Sheriff came down.
And who drove, or Sherra and Billy come down from Memphis to Batesville?
Correct.
And then does anybody drive from Batesville to Atlanta to do this thing?
Me and Billy.
You and Billy. And what vehicle do y'all take from Memphis to Atlanta to do these things?
Gray Dodge.
It's a long way to come
Same
and do
car
a hit.
that we saw a picture
Jesus.
of.
I don't know if it's the same car, but a car like similar.
Well, yeah, that car's all torn up and
Yeah.
it has all that damage to it. But same color, same Dodge style. Who drives?
A tandem.
Was
You
that-
drag some miles, I drag.
Um, You and Billy discuss what's y'all are on the way to do?
Yeah, we did a few discussions, and just went a lot of chatter, but I got the consensus that we was on the same page. That we knew 90% of the chance that Lorenzen was not going to be at the house.
Was that gonna be good news or bad news for you?
That was good news for us.
That was good news for you. So you got, this was good news for you, is that right?
Yes, I got the
Because-
consensus that it was good news for Billy.
Did you have a gun with you?
Yes, sir.
Did Billy have a gun with him?
Yes, sir.
And the idea was that y'all were going to Atlanta to kill Lorenzen.
Correct.
Is that correct? And it was good news to you that 90% chance Lorenzen ain't gonna be there.
Correct.
And by consensus, you mean you felt it was good news for Billy too?
Yes.
That Lorenzen 90% wasn't gonna be there.
Wasn't going to be there.
And if he wasn't there, y'all come back to Memphis.
Yes, yes, sir.
And there's no killing.
No killing.
And guess you got a report back to Sherra.
Yes, sir.
She didn't fuss at you, but she was upset at you the first time.
Correct.
Is she gonna be upset again?
Well, this time I got a person that was there to witness that we went.
This time you got a partner.
Yeah,
So she'll know this time that you went
correct.
to Memphis, or to Atlanta,
To Atlanta.
and he just wasn't there.
Correct.
Now, do you remember what gun you had with you?
I believe I had a 25 with me.
And did you say Billy had a gun too?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, tell me about getting to Atlanta. Did y'all know where to go?
Yes, sir. I know where Green lives.
You knew where he lived. Tell me about going there. I mean, once y'all get there, tell me what y'all did, where y'all parked, if y'all waited. Tell me what happens.
When we got there, we parked outside the condominium complex. We went through the little side area, through a couple of buildings, and when we got to his condominium, it was a window unlocked.
Let me back up. Let me back up. Did y'all wait, once y'all parked, you said you parked outside the condos?
Correct.
Outside the complex?
The complex.
Is that right? Did y'all wait around for a while, or was this something y'all were gonna, y'all park, y'all go do it?
As soon as we parked.
Okay. As soon as you park. And these condos that he lived in, can you describe them sort of like in terms of, could y'all have parked right in front of his condo? Could y'all have gotten into the complex?
Yeah, you can get it to the side of the complex, but it ain't where you want to be if you're finna do a caper.
Okay. So to do a caper, you're gonna park outside.
Correct.
And you said snuck behind some buildings or something?
Between the condos.
The
And
professor
at that
emeritus
time,
of
did you have a
killing
gun with
people.
you?
Yes, sir.
Billy had his gun with you?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all wear any special clothing or anything?
No, sir.
All right, so we're not talking about professional hitting it here, are we?
No, sir.
But y'all both got guns, park outside the complex, sneak through some buildings, and go to the back.
Correct.
And do you remember, and shift gears here for a second, in 2012, when you came forward with the police, they showed you a picture of this complex?
Yes, sir.
And did you actually identify it as the complex and make markings about where y'all parked and the possible location of Lorenzen's condo in this cluster?
Yes, sir.
Let me pass you this and ask you if you recognize this back from 2012.
sir.
And what is that?
This is a picture of the condominium complex.
And have you
It's
made
like
some,
an aerial view.
yeah, back 10 years ago, did you make some markings on that picture?
Yes, sir.
You indicated at least 2 different things, right?
Yes, about 3 times.
All right, what did you indicate on there?
That this is the complex where we park and the possible location of the condominium.
I'd let, that notice is a set, off that notice, say 600 years ago.
Ms. Thomas and or Mr. Perry, have you seen this document?
No,
Look of a guy who'll fucking kill you. over
Interjection. Thank you, Ms. Perry. This will be exhibit number 7474. It's a Google area map identified by Mr. Martin as Lorenzen Complex, exhibit 74. May proceed, Mr. Hagerman.
My apologies, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, you may.
There's a complex. Possible location. Parked.
Let me intercede
How many
for a
is
second.
there?
Yes, sir. We'll just hand it to Jared.
That may be better.
Yes,
It's
sir.
small.
But it's right, it's small, and it may be better for them to have it in their hands so they can take a look at it.
Billy Ray should look nervous. His bro's narking on him to save his own ass. Because everything he says here at the trial they can't use against him. So if he gives away the store, he uses all the evidence up, and then he is scot-free, absent independent evidence. But I doubt they're going to look for it. They're probably just going to settle with convicting Billy Ray of this. If he shouldn't buffer anymore, I put it down to like 480, just to make sure.
You and Billy were behind Lorenzen's condo. I didn't ask you, is this daytime or nighttime?
It's at night.
Dark? Y'all are behind Lorenzen's condo in the nighttime, both with guns, is that right?
Correct.
What do y'all do once y'all get
You enter through a back window.
there? Well, listen,
Actually,
back,
it's a
window.
backside window.
It says a backside window,
Correct.
first floor,
First floor.
front of the house or back of the house?
It's on the back of the side of the house.
Back side of the house? Was it unlocked, in fact?
Correct.
Do you remember who pushed the window up, you or Bill?
I don't know who, but may have been me and may have been Bill.
I don't remember. After the window's pushed up, what do y'all have to do to get in the window? Can y'all step in, you have to climb in, what?
Just a small climb in.
I just talk up a little bit louder, okay? Because I'm about 3 feet from you, I'm straining, so I'm sure those folks in the last row probably have a hard time hearing us.
It was a small climb in.
Yeah, so it's much better.
Y'all come in that window, what type of room are you
When we get in, it's like a game room,
in? What do you mean by game room?
like a pool table, PlayStation.
Do you remember there being a pool table in the room?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was red.
Do you remember anything else that was in the room?
Yeah, it was a PlayStation, lounge seats, TV,
So, like you said, playroom, game room.
little game room.
Was anybody in that room?
No, sir.
Were y'all trying to be quiet?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you have your guns?
Wasted in the waistband.
Waistband? Both of you?
Yeah, when we entered the room, we did.
Once y'all got in the room, what'd you do with your guns?
We drew.
In your hands?
Yes, sir.
What do y'all do?
We headed to the living room.
Where's
which
that?
was- It seems like a little living room or a den.
Okay.
It was to the left.
To the left of the room you came in?
Yes, sir.
Was there anybody in the living room?
There was someone sleeping on the couch.
Was the couch in the living room?
Yes, sir.
There was someone sleeping on the couch. Could you tell who that person was?
No, sir.
Do you know whether or not it was Lorenzen?
Knew right away it wasn't Lorenzen
Why is that?
because of the stature.
Smaller than Lorenzen?
Way smaller.
Way small.
Yes, sir.
Did this person wake up?
No, sir.
How close to this person did y'all get?
Hand distance, arm distance.
3 feet?
Yes, sir.
Y'all being quiet when you walked up next to him?
Yes, sir.
Either one of y'all point a gun at him?
No, sir. Not that I remember. I didn't point one.
What'd y'all do with this person 3 feet from you?
Nothing. We left him. We left where we was at.
Did y'all leave the condo?
Promptly after we realized there wasn't nobody there.
Promptly after you?
Yeah, promptly after we seen there was somebody else there other than the reason we left
How'd y'all leave?
through the same way we came.
Did y'all shut the window behind you?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember who did that?
I don't know.
Were you scared in that condo?
No, sir.
No, sir? As you left the condo, did y'all go back to the car?
Yes, sir.
Fast or slow?
Just a regular pace.
Did y'all go behind the buildings again, or did you go out to the neighborhood?
Went through the same way we came.
Did y'all see anybody in the backyards or anything like that?
No, sir.
Did y'all make it to the car
Yes, sir.
undetected?
Yes, sir.
Nobody the wiser? Y'all get back to the car, did y'all talk to each other?
Yes, sir.
Did y'all talk to each other before y'all got back to the car?
No, sir.
Y'all got back to the car, what y'all talking about?
It was like relieved that we did everything went as planned. We didn't want to do anything anyway. We just,
Y'all are relieved.
yeah, just checking it off the box.
And you'd used the word consensus before. Is that how Billy appeared to feel too?
Yes, sir.
And is that how he talked too?
Yes, sir.
So we're back in the car with our guns. We're relieved that we didn't have to do anything. Where do we go?
We leave and go park at a restaurant for a few minutes, gather our thoughts.
Do you remember now what restaurant it was?
No, sir.
Do you remember in a prior statement saying you thought it was an IHOP restaurant?
It could have been an IHOP or a Huddle House or something.
Did y'all go in the restaurant?
No, sir.
What did y'all do in the car?
Just sit there and wait, rested, and headed back to Memphis.
Chilled out, yes.
Get chilled out. It was a long drive.
Do you remember any conversations in the car while y'all were in that parking lot?
No, sir.
Did y'all leave that parking lot and start driving back to Memphis? Did you start driving back to Memphis or Bassville or where?
Yeah, same general area.
Do you remember conversations on the ride home?
On the ride home, the only conversation I believe we had was about how this is getting too ridiculous.
This thing's getting too ridiculous?
Yeah.
Or when y'all talking about this thing getting too
Talking about
ridiculous,
this plot that Sherra had hatched.
did y'all both agree that it was getting too ridiculous?
Yes, sir.
At this point on the drive back, has anybody contacted Sherra to tell her this didn't happen?
I believe Billy told me that he had when we stopped for gas that he contacted her. That he contacted Sherra and told her everybody that nothing happened.
And did he relay to her, to you, what her response was or what she thought about that?
No, sir.
Back to Bassville for you? Or?
Yeah, back to basics with me.
Do you remember what became of the two guns at that point? You said you had the smaller gun, the 25 with you, and Billy had a different gun with him.
Yes,
You
sir.
remember what happened with the guns when you got back?
I kept the one I had.
You kept the one you had?
I don't know what happened to the next one.
As far as you know, did Billy keep the one he had?
Yes, sir.
That takes us through June of 2010. You and I have talked about some Facebook messages, is that correct?
Correct.
Messages between you and Sherra.
I think that's a correct statement impression.
From late June into July of 2010, is that right?
I believe so.
I even had you read the messages, is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct? Would you agree with me that you and Sherra are speaking in some sort of rude code or something about things in these messages?
Yes, sir.
This is, for the record, already an exhibit, you know, this is
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 70.
Yes, sir.
Facebook message from Jay Martin on June 24th. Facebook message to Jay Martin on June the 24th. About your beats, any luck on getting all the new equipment? I'm still asking people who I think you could get deals from. Let me know. Love it. And you respond, no luck, still looking to win the party. What are y'all talking about?
Right there, we're talking about guns.
Talking about guns? Was there a reason why y'all needed new guns?
Because the guns that she supplied was small caliber, 25, 38, and one of them was way too large, 357.
Okay, so yeah, you got 25, your small caliber, 38, small caliber,
Caliber.
357, which is enormous.
Too large of a caliber.
And did you not like those calibers to do this thing?
Those are not guns you want to go in to a battle with. Those self-defense ones.
And so she's asking you, any luck on getting all the new equipment, guns? I'm still looking for people who I think I can get deals from, guns from. And your response, no look, no luck, still looking to win the party, is that right?
Correct.
And y'all are gonna talk about a party throughout these. What's the party?
The party is, when it's, where and when.
Where and
Lorenzen
when,
is
what's
be-
gonna happen?
Correct,
When Lorenzen's gonna be killed.
correct,
Is that correct?
correct.
And then we have a message in July the 4th, from Sherra to you. Man, you drive me crazy with this party. We keep getting our days and times mixed up. You're supposed to go to Atlanta one time, you didn't go.
Correct.
When you went to Atlanta with Billy the second time, it didn't happen.
Amen.
What you gonna do? We got all our, you know who she's talking about, when she says we?
No,
Okay, who all was at this meeting?
Objection, Your Honor, that's an answer. He doesn't know.
He asked another question, who all was at the meeting, so he left that first question alone. Mr. Perry actually asked another question. The last question was, who all was at this meeting?
Did he get an answer? Do we have an answer to the last question, Your Honor? Because I think he
Tried to answer it and he started
Mr.
talking.
Perry,
I'm asking a question, Your Honor.
I understand, if you listen to the answers, you would understand to ask the question, he said he didn't know, then he asked him who all was at the meeting. He asked a different question when he got the answer to the first question.
The answer to the first question is he didn't know.
Yes, sir, and he asked another question, who all was at the party, at the meeting, rather. PRC.
Who's the meeting?
who all was at the meeting? It was me, Billy, and Sheriff.
And who all was in the car with you going to Atlanta?
It was me and Billy.
What else you need? Because I can't find another DJ this late. I want to do it before the 18th. Do you know why she worked before the 18th?
No clue.
Did you know that Lorenzen was coming in town on the 18th?
Didn't have a clue.
Because we got the family reunion and other stuff coming up. Give me a holler back, let me know something. You respond 3 days later. So this was $300 left. What are you talking about there?
So this is what's up, $300 left. This might be in response to something that was called on the phone.
Okay, because did you communicate with Sherra more than in one way?
Correct.
Would you talk to her in person?
Talk to her in person,
Would you talk to her on the phone?
talk to her on the phone,
Would you talk to her through Facebook?
and through Facebook,
Were there any other ways you all communicate with each other?
through text.
Text. Towel in Florida had the concert there. Do you know what's that about?
It's just a misprint there. This show was in Florida.
Whose show?
Show had a concert in Florida.
Okay. Do you know what, towel doesn't make much sense. You know what word that's supposed to be?
Show.
Show. Show in Florida had the concert there? And had you actually had a concert in Florida?
Correct.
You want me to go to a party, we're talking McKillop, is that right?
Correct.
Adult theme, but the party has kids. When is it gonna be an all-adult party, or how to plan around that? Also gotta plan around my contacts there, then a rental. Let's take this piece by piece. What do you mean when you talk about adult theme, party having kids, and stuff like that?
When this text, I was driving, so someone was typing for me, but it was saying, I was like, man, is it 21 and over, meaning don't have anybody around,
Okay, so you mean nobody around at all?
you know?
So you aren't necessarily talking about
We're not
kids?
talking about kids as in kids, please.
Okay. Could we almost replace that word kids with witnesses?
Correct,
No witnesses around?
correct.
We gotta plan a party without witnesses and how to plan around that.
Correct.
Do you know what the thing about also gotta plan around my contacts there and then a rental was about?
Because at that point in time, it's really saying my contacts there was who else who I'm supposed to be coming up here to talk to get this accomplished.
Okay, you're asking her who you're supposed to come and pick up to get this done. looks like, right?
Because this was my plan right here. Whatever this plan was.
And you and Billy have already gotten back from Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's over with. Is it okay to throw the party outside? And you respond, I got you. You know what that means?
I get you.
But I mean, as far as outside, she's
Oh.
literally talking about having it done outside.
Yes, sir.
Back to the kids witnesses thing. You say that you're concerned about the noise in the neighbors,
Correct.
but it'll have to work if there's no other way.
Correct.
A series of texts from her that you don't respond to over the course of a week, July the 7th to July the 13th. She's asking during that week, are we still on? What's up? We still on? And your response, tying loose ends, moving studios, change of plan. The artist can't find any equipment. He can trade or sell my big keyboard. That's what I'm trying to do. The other two are cool, but I need a 9-inch studio monitor. Don't want people sweat and stuff burning up in the non-AC junk. We have to rent something to haul all this. Too much hassle cleaning up. Don't want to be riding dirty. Then the money got to cover our ass. What are we talking about there?
It's talking about getting rid of the 357 Magnum. But at the time we had already replaced the 38. Remember I had sold the 38. Now you got a 9. So I'm saying the other two cool. The 25 and the 9 is cool. So we gotta get rid of this 357 Magnum somehow.
And is the 357 the big keyboard?
Yeah, it's a big.
And 9-inch studio monitor, what's that?
Get another 9.
You need money for something? I got 200. Try to find the monitors. Those are speakers.
Man,
Everybody's
how many
used
dudes
them.
has this guy killed? He
I
speaks like a
can't
frog.
find them around here. Can't afford new ones. Let me know. He should be able to help. Then I'll scoop him, and we good. He should be able to help, and I scoop him, and we good. Who are you talking about?
At this time,
Let me show you this here real quick.
Yes, sir.
This one here.
what time? Is that 14?
Yeah. July 14th.
I think I'm talking about whoever found her the first gun. He should be able to help. I'm not talking about a particular person at the time.
Okay. So whoever.
Whoever
Get the
found
guns.
them last ones for you, he should be able to help you find some more. You keep asking me about.
And then the next text is actually not text, I'm sorry, Facebook message is from Sherra.
But it's from a text.
Yeah. Is from Sherra to you, and it's actually 2 days after the murder. I give up, nothing's working out, everything is too high, including getting the pool up and running, Memphis pool. You've read this text, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
What's this thing about?
That's where she's just tying up loose ends.
What do you mean by-
I believe she was either went to a grand jury or somebody was talking to her and she told me they was saying she didn't end none of her phone calls with me, so I guess they was her trying to end
Okay, when you say somebody's talking to you, do you mean the police?
police.
When you say tying up loose ends, I think I understand what you're saying. Y'all have all these previous messages about a party out there hanging, right?
Correct.
And is this an attempt by her to try to close that hanging?
They closed it up, the argument, and with that statement.
After that, on 7/22, you tell her you need to call Auntie. Who are you talking about when you say Auntie?
Talking about my mom.
Okay, is that done?
Correct.
And then on 7/23, 4 days after the murder, you text her and you says you found it. it's a statement or a question or whatever, it says you found it, and she does not respond. And then there's no other text with you and her until September. It's just what's good, and that's it. When you say you found it, what are you talking about? The 23rd?
That time, I believe she was, they was looking for a gun they had lost. Or a gun she had lost.
Let's start talking about that. We are now well into July of 2010. We've seen that you and Sherra are still.
Counsel broke the second.
I think we're about to pack it up. Not yet. We want to, though. I think we're about done. Yes, he's the guy that found the gun. So, no, White Claws are strong. No, it's been a long day. So, yeah, he's been given immunity. If he gives up everything, they can't use it against him. So, I'm presuming if he gives up everything, they have no evidence to prosecute him on this trial. So, that's why he is here. He's already doing a 20-year sentence. It's interesting because he was on trial in 2009, got acquitted, and then they retried him on the second-degree murder charge, and they convicted him, but he was out on bond. So he was out on bond for a murder. He's out making other murders. This dude is like hard fucking gore.
And I was looking at the time and issues, talking to the lawyers to see about how much more time Mr. Hagerman thought he might have on direct examination, and I don't set time limits on lawyers. The law says have to give lawyers adequate but not excessive time to present their cases. Mr. Martin is not going to finish his testimony tonight. By the time Mr. Hagerman finishes and the cross-examination is done, it could be getting later into the evening than I would want to get. Because I told you we try to stop every day about 5:15 or 5:30. So remember the last question was asked, because judges have really bad minds. Lawyers have really bad minds too. And so I don't want to run the risk of repeating a lot of what you heard today. So we're going to stop today at the last question that Mr. Hagerman asked. He might ask some other questions just to put it back into perspective as to where we stop today. But we'll start tomorrow morning at 9:30. I think you have 10 cases set on the docket tomorrow morning. We're going to resume the trial at 9:30. Mr. Martin will resume the direct examination, and Mr. Perry and or Mr. Thomas will ask questions on cross-examination. You cannot discuss the case with anyone. You cannot discuss the case amongst yourselves. Let me know if the accommodations are okay. Let me know if the food is good. Let me know if the deputies are doing better. For those folks that love Memphis basketball, they actually won that game today by 11 points. Then they get to face Gonzaga in the second round. It may not be looking too promising. We'll see you back tomorrow morning at 9:30.
They should be able to watch it on sports. I'm starting to like this judge. I don't like how this
resume your testimony tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Yeah, Jules, that's going to be a question they probably ask.
With any of the lawyers overnight, and we'll see you back at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Just remain seated for a second, please, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you guys wonder why that guy's all swollen and cheering and shit? He's been in prison, so this is like a vacation for him. It's like a field trip. He gets to go out and see the world.
Ms. Jones, you need to talk to Ms. Martin? Yes, sir. Go through.
He could be also not wearing anything, Critter. I mean, it all depends on what's going on. But yeah, he could have a shock belt on. He could have shock anklets. They also might just let him through and testify. I didn't hear you chinking or clinking, so I'm assuming he's
For the record,
not
the
wearing
jury is
chains.
out before we adjourn for the evening. Anything else we need to discuss?
We're done to press because I just need a
We'll
bunch
adjourn
of
to
cases.
9
Now, guys,
o'clock tomorrow morning, Friday,
ankle
March
and
18. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
cuffed
For the
and
regular clock, docket
on a
brother,
belly
9:30
chain,
for the
so-
continuation of the trial.
All right. Tomorrow morning, March 18th.
no, he's got that bracelet on because he's at the jail. Jails generally do bracelets. When you're in prison, generally you have like an ID card that you have to have on you and that they use. But in jail, they use bracelets. So, because he's here locally, they're keeping him at the jail. So, yeah, prison time is easier, but like I said, for this guy, it's like a field trip. He got to go out and see the world, gets involved in something, get a little different food. I'm so laid back, huh? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, his shank-proof leather chair. Yeah, can't put a toothbrush through it. Yeah, so this guy's a professional hitman, it sounds like. It sounds like he's killed his fair share of people. So, that's it for today. Yeah, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to take a break now to get ready for tonight. So, hang in there. You know, Fluffer and Parallax, I don't know if you guys are still here, but yeah, all you guys that came over from Ricado's stream, Thursday nights, 9:30, I do a stream, kind of recapping stuff in the week, and it's a little more, less structured. We kind of fuck around. So, yeah, just let me know, and let's see you guys later tonight. Have a nice night, guys. Oh, I don't fall asleep in court. How many people has that guy killed? I don't know, but he's definitely killed a lot. He seems like a pro. I bet he's killed at least 5 people. Alright, see you guys.